What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Full Court Talk. This is our 39th podcast. It's just CJ and I
Yep.
today. We're going to have a lot of fun talking about some good stuff. But
Yep.
our first topic, something I've seen recently, but are the Warriors championship contenders when Clay comes back? So, as you guys know, he hurt his ACL and then his Achilles, so maybe he'll be back to his former self. We don't know. But the second one, with the Timberwolves playing so badly this season, will they finally part ways with Karl-Anthony Towns and or D'Angelo Russell during the offseason? And the third topic is Nikola Jokic running away with the MVP. Is it going to be unanimous MVP? And the fourth topic and our last topic, what does it mean when Draymond goes on a podcast with Kevin Durant and they basically make fun of Steve Kerr for his past comments? Leave it to Draymond. But
Yeah.
so with the first one, in the recent news with James Wiseman going down with a torn meniscus, they don't know the severity yet. It could be he's out for a month and a half, or all the way to 4 to 6 months, meaning he would come back at the beginning of next season. Um, I'm not sure what this means now because if he's out for an extended period of time, he doesn't get that summer to work on his game. He's
Yeah.
essentially just working out a little and not being able to get a lot of shots up, which is bad. And big men who get hurt, particularly in the lower body area, tend to get in bad shape because they can't run, they can't do much. Look at
Yeah.
Joel Embiid when he got injured early in his career, and he was pretty out of shape for a good 2 to 3 seasons.
Hmm.
So that's something that comes to my mind. Um, but on top of that, the injury issues have plagued the Warriors since 2019. So it's tough. They've dealt with this injury bug for a couple seasons, and it's tough to watch at times, especially with Steph kind of like being the lone guy now. Um, but I think this offseason they have to be extremely aggressive throughout the entire time because you want to get that second star or third star to pair with Steph because Draymond is getting a little older, Steph isn't getting younger. Um, Clay is coming off an Achilles injury and a torn ACL back to back. So he hasn't played in 2 years. So that's going to be something to watch. Um, there are a lot of expectations for this core because of Clay's, you know, fame before all of this. But I think they really need to be more realistic because saying that they're going to be contenders is a lot of pressure that's going to put on them. And I don't think they're going to be contenders right away, at least. They're a lot like they're a big piece away from being contenders. I feel like there's a lot more better teams now. The Lakers are stacked when they're healthy. The Nets are completely stacked when they're healthy. Those are just two teams. You still got the Clippers, the Nuggets, who have been on a tear since Aaron Gordon got there. Um, Utah looks really good, and in the East, the Bucks are always going to be the Bucks as long as Giannis is there. The Miami Heat have been streaking. Boston is always going to be someone you watch out for. So, seeing that the Warriors are going to be in that kind of contending level, I would say probably not. I would say they're going to be playoff contenders till Clay is at least 85-90% healthy, and that probably won't be for the first 25-30 games.
Yeah.
But what do you think?
Well, I mean, first of all, like prayers up to James Wiseman. That
Yeah,
injury, like I didn't think it was bad initially when I first saw it, but then like I was telling you earlier, Spence, like Kalena knew as soon as it happened, and like you said, being a big, like it takes a while to get accustomed to things, and like essentially, I want to bring it up again, like what you said. If depending on the severity of the injury and how much time he misses, you're looking at possibly not getting that summertime. And if anything, it's going to be like his first season, the way that he was thrown in.
yeah,
And he's not going to get that much exposure because, I mean, he already has limited exposure due to various reasons. You know what I mean? And I think, you know, with what KD did this season after coming back from an injury, obviously what Clay's coming back from is more severe than what KD endured. I mean, who knows? Like Clay can just come back and just be Clay. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, I know he's going to be rusty. He's going to take some time, but yeah, like I don't think they're championship contenders, like playoff contenders for sure. But Um, that is because like James Wiseman went down. I feel like if he didn't go down, like championship contender would have been more realistic.
Yeah.
But the fact that they got to get him acclimated again, that's going to take some time off of. It's going to put some stress on Clay and Steph and Draymond to deliver.
Yeah.
And like you said, they have to be aggressive this off season. I honestly think that you guys have a chance. The Warriors has a chance at getting Kauai. I mean, that's just
Yeah.
me because like, especially if the success of the Clippers doesn't, you know, reach his expectations, I feel like he'll leave and he'll want to go somewhere that he can compliment other people. And I think it'd be a good situation for him being in the Warriors. I would hate it as a Lakers fan, obviously, but like you said, they're 1 star away, right? And so I think the Warriors are a legitimate threat to get Kawhi. But yeah, it's just Wiseman going down that influenced my decision to say that they're only going to be playoff contenders. And I think him going down is just a testament of what Steve Kerr is doing with the rotations too. Like, as we both like JTA, like he should have been getting more minutes. I feel
Yeah.
like if he would have been getting more run, then there would have been that much of a toll on Wiseman's body. You know what I mean? Because being a rookie and adjusting to possibly like your first sense of actual game since college, it takes a toll on your body. So I think that played a role in him getting injured as well. But yeah, realistically speaking, like the Warriors, they're gonna make the playoffs next year.
Yeah.
I honestly really think that they are, especially with Clay coming back. It's just more so of building a winning culture again because obviously the last 2 seasons, like it hasn't been the best.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, 1 star away, and depending on what they do this offseason, maybe coaching changes. I know you would like that. I know others would like that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, and as we all know, like when Steph is healthy, like he looks like he hasn't missed a beat.
Yeah.
So hopefully the same goes for Steph. I mean for Clay and Draymond moving forward. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think the insane thing is that even though Steph is 32,
Yeah.
he's had his best season yet. I feel like if you like really watch him, he's moving a lot better.
Yeah.
He's a hell of a lot stronger from when he was in the past, and
Yeah.
he's consistently playing well. I think over the
Mhm.
last like 4 or 5 games, he's averaging like 35 a game, so
Yep.
he's been playing really well. Um, I think the only move I could see them making, I don't think they get rid of Wiggins. I think they like Wiggins too much
Yeah.
with what he's been able to do. I think they'll sign and trade Oubre at the end, and I think if that Timberwolves pick becomes the 4 or 5, I think they might trade it to get something back
Yeah.
because I don't think they'll want to deal with another rookie.
Hmm.
Um, Maybe they'll trade their own pick because I think it'll land within the top 20. So
Hmm.
we'll see.
Yeah.
But getting on to the worst NBA team in the NBA, the
Yeah.
Minnesota Timberwolves. Obviously, they've had a tough season, and it's not really their fault because they've dealt with a lot of injuries. I think the trio of Cat, Anthony Edwards, and D'Angelo Russell have played like a single digit amount of games together,
Yeah.
something insane like that.
Yeah.
Um, and obviously, it's getting to the point where Cat's kind of become injury prone. D'Lo is
Yeah.
injury prone.
Yeah.
Anthony Edwards just loves to prove me wrong because he has been insanely good this season.
Yeah.
Um, with all that being said, it's a tough season for them because if this pick lands outside the top 3, it goes to the Warriors. And I believe it has a 40% chance of landing in the top 3. So you don't even have the odds aren't even in your favor that you get a
Yeah.
top pick for next season. Um, and I think if the pick slides outside of the top 3, I think they'll have to get rid of either D'Lo or Cat to get something back in return
Yeah.
because as good as they could be together, they're never healthy together.
Yeah.
Um, and obviously, I don't think they're gonna give up Cat because of what he's been through into Minnesota with them. With his whole family going through this whole pandemic and kind of being just hurt by the entire thing. It's tough, and I'm sure Cat really appreciates everything that they've done for his family. D'Angelo on the other side hasn't been good at all for Minnesota. He's had really tough games, and I think he spent a lot of the season on the bench being hurt. I'm not sure what you could get for a guy like D'Lo because he's injury prone now. and his contract is it's huge
Mhm.
for a guy that doesn't play a lot. And honestly,
Yeah.
D'Lo and Anthony Edwards are so similar on the offensive end in the sense that they need the ball in their hands. They're not off-ball guys. They need the ISO to
Exactly.
get their buckets. And at the end of the day, it's gonna hurt Anthony Edwards' growth. So
Hmm.
I would get rid of D'Lo. Um, Cat, you could possibly build around still, but it's tough to say because he's spent so much of his time losing and stat padding. It's
Yeah.
hard to flip a switch and be like, okay, go win games.
Yeah.
But who do you think they'll trade? Or
You
do you
know,
think they won't trade at all?
yeah. Honestly, I think they get rid of Cat. I think they get rid of Cat just because, like you said, like Cat's the longest tenured player that they have out of those three, obviously.
Yeah.
And although he really appreciates what Minnesota has done for him and his family, I think he wants to win, and I think he just wants to change the scenery.
Yeah.
And like he probably feels like he's done his due diligence for the team. And ever since like D'Lo came, obviously he loved playing alongside one of his best friends, but
Yeah.
it just hasn't panned out. Like you said, they're both injury prone. Unfortunately, Cat's at that stage too with D'Lo, where they get injured a lot, and it's crazy because like these guys are elite players, but they just can't seem to stay healthy. But ever since D'Lo came back, Cat's been looking inspired. With the way that he's been putting up numbers. I understand that he's the best player that they have, but Ant Edwards like blooming. I honestly see them getting rid of Cat just so they can build a younger roster. But at the same time, I also wouldn't be surprised if they got rid of D'Lo because, like you said, D'Lo and Anthony Edwards, they play the same way. They need the ball to dominate. And with the draft coming up, I know they're praying to the basketball gods to keep their pick because obviously Ant is a two and D'Lo plays like a two, but they haven't played like the one. So what do
Yeah.
they need in the draft? They need a guard, but they need a point
Jalen
guard.
Suggs.
Jalen Suggs, Cade Cunningham, those guys,
Yeah.
right? And so I know they're praying like, man, please let us pick the top top three. But yeah, I think that also obviously that'll influence their decisions moving forward. If that pick falls within the top three, I think D'Lo's gone. But
Yeah.
if it doesn't, Cat's gone.
Yeah.
So regardless of what happens, Anthony Edwards is going to be there. He's probably going to be their new it guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's surprising that the Timberwolves are the worst team in the NBA, especially since the Rockets lost 20 in a row. And they're
Yeah.
still not the worst team in the NBA. So yeah, there definitely needs to be changes there. And I think, like I said, I mean, I want to see Cat go to a winning team because I feel like he won't be as injury prone if he gets to somewhere where they're winning. You
Yeah.
know, because he wouldn't have to shoulder the load too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, so moving forward, I think they definitely get rid of one of those guys, one of the two for sure.
Yeah. I think it's really tough because like with guys like D'Lo and Cat, like they're so good when they're healthy, but I mean if they're not healthy, they're not producing anything for you.
Yeah,
Um, and I love Cat. I think he's a great offensive player. I think defensively he leaves a little to be desired, but
yeah,
offensively you can't deny he's like one of the best shooting bigs. He's one of the best finishing bigs.
yeah,
So it sucks for a guy like that to be kind of wasting his time.
yeah,
But they just got sold to Alex Rodriguez. Glenn Taylor is finally gone, I believe. So that's really good for them. That's a step in the right direction because
yeah.
he wouldn't even retire Kevin Garnett's number. So that's
Yep,
BS in its own right.
exactly.
But I'm hoping that they win a little more games, just so they're not the worst team, and that Warriors pick gets solidified at 4 or 5. That'd be
Yeah.
perfect. But going on to our next topic, is Nikola Jokic a unanimous MVP? I'll let you start off on this one.
I mean, yeah, based on the past of players that received it, aka Steph, and what Jokic is doing for the Nuggets, especially after that Aaron Gordon trade. Um, I think he's a clear runoff for that.
Yeah,
The only person that would probably rival him, I can't believe I'm saying this, but Don Mitchell of Utah, just because Utah is the best team in the
yeah,
NBA. They're up there with Brooklyn, for the number one seeds. But yeah, like it was Embiid, and then he went down, and then he just hasn't like been MVP caliber, right?
Yeah,
But yeah, Jokic is looking like the runaway for unanimous MVP. He's obviously the Nuggets' best player, the most important player on that roster, and he just makes everybody around him better. And so, like the numbers that he's putting up this season, he's, if I'm not mistaken, he's damn near averaging a triple double.
he's one assist away from a triple double.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So that just goes to show, like, and this is a big, like we discussed in previous podcasts, like bigs going after the MVP has not been the trend for a while now,
yeah,
and I think that's also going to play in a role with him receiving it, and also with LeBron going down and AD going down. I think it just solidifies his case even more because the Nuggets, especially like I said, especially after the AG trade, like they look like one of the best teams in the NBA, if not the best team. I think they're better than Utah. I definitely think they're
yeah,
better than Utah. And so, yeah, to answer the question, yes, I do think he's the unanimous MVP.
yeah. I think he is the MVP for sure. Unanimous is tough to say just because it's only been done once.
Yeah,
And that was a tough pull to swallow for a lot of people. But I mean, when you see a big averaging 26 points, 9 assists, 11 boards, that's really good. And
yeah,
then to go on his efficiency, he's averaging or he's shooting 57% from the field and 43% from three, which
just
I
crazy.
didn't know he could shoot like that. I thought he would be like 35, but he's
Yeah,
insane this season. Um,
yeah,
and to make it even like more impressive, he does a little bit of not a little bit. He does everything for the
he
Nuggets
really
on
does.
the
He
offensive
does.
end.
Yeah,
He's the playmaker, he's the scorer, he's the post player, he's everywhere. And
everywhere. Yep.
it's insane for a big ass white dude to be like doing this.
Yeah,
But and I think the only guy that would rival him is like you said, Donovan Mitchell after his like 38 points a game in the last 3 games.
hmm,
Joel Embiid before he went down, I would say was MVP candidate, but now it's kind of tough after
yeah,
missing so many games. But still, 29 points, 11 boards on 52% from the field, 37 from three for Embiid.
yeah,
Really good.
yeah.
But he gets edged out by Jokic because he does everything for them. Um,
Exactly.
and even though Aaron Gordon's numbers aren't jumping up, uh, his efficiency has gone from like 45% to like 65%, something like that from the
Yeah,
field. And you look at the points that Aaron Gordon's getting, they're the easiest points he's probably ever gotten in his career because he's cutting at the perfect moment, and Jokic is always going to find the cutter.
yep,
So, and I think they just lost their first game after the All Star break, I believe,
yeah,
because
yeah.
Jamal Murray didn't play. So,
Hmm.
makes sense. But like you said, this Nuggets team is really good. Um, and I think that they could be one of the best in the West because of how good they are
Yeah,
offensively and now defensively with a guy like Aaron Gordon.
yeah. And honestly, like one thing that we always talk about, Spence, the MVP award is a regular season award, and
Yeah,
in the regular season, Jokic is serving. Like he's doing absolutely everything, like you said. And if you take him out of that Nuggets offense, I mean, even if with a healthy Jamal Murray, they're gonna be scrambling. You know what
yeah,
I mean? The playmaking won't be there, and so that's crazy. Like you said, for a center at his size to do what he does, that alone just gets him the most points for MVP. So yeah, regular season award, people.
well, if you look at it, Jamal Murray is such a good off-ball player.
Yeah,
He fits perfectly with Jokic. And let's be honest, Jamal isn't a one; he's a two.
he's not,
But he has
definitely
the
not.
luxury of playing the one because of a guy like Jokic who can take down the ball at a as a 7 footer, which is
Yeah,
KD level, but obviously he's not quick like KD.
as mobile. Yep.
He's just smart. He's so
Yep.
smart.
Yeah.
Um, no one ever saw Jokic being an MVP candidate at the beginning of the season. I
Definitely
guess
not.
we knew he would be a triple double threat,
Yeah.
but he's just been insane this season. So I'm excited to see what they do. Um,
Yeah.
I don't want to play them in the playoffs. I don't think anyone wants to play them right now with
Same
how
here.
good they've been. Um, but even if the Warriors make the playoffs, I'm going to be happy.
Yeah.
But we'll see. And I hope you beat the Lakers in the play-in tournament. But
I'm gonna see you there, man. I'm gonna see you there.
Hey, we can go to Chase Center, so maybe it'll be there.
I know, right?
But on to our last topic. What does it mean when Draymond goes on Kevin Durant's podcast and makes fun of Steve Kerr for his past comments? So to clear this up, Steve Kerr made a comment last season, I believe, when they were had like maybe like what 10 wins all season, cut short due to COVID, but I believe they were the second worst team in the NBA. And Steve Kerr said he had more fun losing all these games than 2019 when they were winning all the games because he got to coach more. Maybe from a coaching standpoint, that's fun, but
Yeah,
if I'm a competitor, I don't like losing games.
yeah,
And obviously, this rubbed KD the wrong way because it's kind of like a direct jab at him.
yeah,
Um, it's a jab at Steph because Steph is the Warriors.
yeah,
Draymond is a fiery competitor. He didn't like this. So it's weird that he would come out and say that. Uh, but you know, it's pretty obvious that KD doesn't like Steve Kerr, and it seems like Steve Kerr was one of the main reasons KD ended up leaving the Warriors.
yeah,
Um, and if you look at how the Warriors run their offense now, it's kind of obvious why KD didn't like it. Unnecessary passes, lack of pick and rolls, um, and it makes sense. KD is a guy that thrives on ISO. Steve Kerr didn't let him ISO a lot, so that's where it comes from. Um, but to hear your one of your pillars in the organization to say like I didn't
yeah,
like losing and like kind of disagreeing with him, and this has been kind of like going on all season. Steve Kerr will say one thing, Draymond defers or like says no, I don't agree, and then they go back and forth from media sessions.
yep,
It's not a good look. It's kind of embarrassing if I'm in the
yeah,
Warriors organization.
yeah,
Um, and at the end of the day, with Kerr saying some stupid stuff all the time, and then Draymond having to be like, "No, that's not true," or like, "No, that's stupid,"
yeah.
it makes Kerr look really dumb.
It does.
And I think that's where it's coming from. Is like Kerr's just being weird this season, and it's being more noticed because the Warriors are playing bad. Uh, he seems like a really petty person in my mind
Yeah,
because he keeps talking about
exactly.
stuff.
Yeah,
But that was a long time ago. So it's time to just get over it and play what you have in front of you, you know?
yeah,
But as a player, going out and winning every game would be a lot more fun than going out and pretty much knowing we don't have the firepower to go up against these guys. We're a G League team compared to all these NBA teams.
yeah,
That's really what it was last season.
yeah,
And every game losing, and then for Draymond, it's like he gets shit on by the media after playing with such a bad team. So
yeah,
it's tough because was in a situation where he was getting all the heat for losing.
yeah.
But what do you think about this whole thing?
I mean, clearly Draymond saw an opportunity to take shots at Steve Kerr with this podcast,
Yeah,
and I think he saw it as an opportunity to say something and receive little to minimal like percussions. And so I think he took the opportunity and he was just like, man, I had to speak my mind because like you said, like that comment was just it's ridiculous, bro. Like who
yeah,
wants to lose? You know what I mean? But at the same time, like I look at it from both ways. Like who when he's a coach, when you're a coach and you're winning that much, maybe it gets boring. I don't know. Sorry guys, technical difficulties again. But
you're good.
yeah,
You're good.
when you're losing and I mean when you're winning so much with the way that he did from when they were winning championships, right? Maybe it does get boring because you really don't have to coach. And that's what a lot of people assumed that it was before when they hired Steve Kerr, because obviously the players are doing just about everything. And, he was like a first time coach. I mean, he was a GM before, but, that was like his really first time coaching. But to say something like that, and like you said, maybe he's like the most pettiest coach I've ever seen, honestly speaking.
Yeah,
And I think he's still upset that KD left. I think, which is
yeah,
why he
yeah,
made those comments. And maybe he was kidding, maybe he wasn't. We never know with Steve Kerr, but from the looks of it, he definitely wasn't kidding. And so, like, I think moving forward, like, he just has to keep those comments to himself because it does make him look stupid at the end of the day. Because
Yeah,
he'll say, like you said, he'll say one thing, and then players from his team would completely say the opposite or
yeah,
not even defend him, right? Stuff like that. So I think Steve Kerr just needs to get it together. But I also wouldn't be surprised if he gets axed
yeah,
at the end of the season, in the off season. So yeah, it just sucks because obviously being a Warriors fan, the Warriors organization they've transformed. You know what I mean? They've transformed to a winning culture, and then obviously like these last two seasons haven't been their best, which is nothing to what the Warriors organization went through before. But
yeah,
it's just if you want to build your way back up again, it starts with the head coach and the staff, and so making comments like that is just ridiculous. But like, yeah, if I'm Draymond, saw an opportunity, I'm taking it. I'm taking shots on my coach for saying some stupid stuff like that, man. And
yeah. And
so, yeah,
this isn't the first time it's happened. I
yeah,
know Steve Kerr said something else about KD
yeah,
um before this, and it comes off as petty,
yeah,
and he got really frustrated because someone like I guess he thought someone misconstrued his comments, but if you look at it, that's exactly what Steve Kerr said.
yeah.
Um, it is what it is. The Warriors don't look great right now. I mean, they won against the Rockets, but it's the Rockets. They lost to the
It's the
Wizards.
Rockets. Yeah,
That's embarrassing. Um, but we'll see. It's a lot of games left. Maybe they'll make a push, but
yeah.
with how this season is going right now, not sure anymore. But gotta stay positive, right?
Gotta stay positive. Have faith, man. Have faith. We'll see you in the
But
play-in.
oh yeah, yeah, exactly. And then we'll beat you guys, and then we'll go to the
Man,
championship.
yeah, right. Shoot.
Man, but that's gonna do it for our 39th podcast. Thank you, CJ, for coming back on. This has been a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, of course. But wait, before we go, I just want to shout out my guy Gary Trent Jr. Man, he's been hooping 44 points.
Bro,
You know,
17 of 19.
17 to 19. Duke guy. Everybody knows I'm a Duke guy. I just want to shout him out. But yeah, Toronto got to steal, man. They got to
They
steal.
really did. I didn't think you would that though. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, like, comment, and subscribe. Check out our social medias down in the description. But
Yep.
that's gonna do it for us. So catch you guys in the next one.